What's up guys, Justin here with the RenderingEssentials.com, back with another Lumion tutorial for you. So in today's video I wanted to talk about how to add foliage to the materials inside of your rendering. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. So this is a super interesting feature to me because what it allows you to do is it allows you to take materials that are already inside of your Lumion renderings and it allows you to add foliage to them. So like moss or leaves or things like that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off, and this is the model that we created yesterday in our 30-minute modeling tutorial. What I want to do is I want to come in, I want to add some leaves to this stone material that I've got on the face here. You can see how I swapped this out for a different material than I had in here before. And so in order to do this, where you're going to find this is you're going to find this in the materials section. And this may look a little bit different depending on the version you have. I have Lumion 9 right now, so you can find that just in Lumion 9 by going down and clicking on the paint bucket. And then from inside the paint bucket, you're going to find the material that you want to apply this to. So in this case, the material that we want to apply this to is this material labeled color C07. And so if I click on this, this will bring up the material properties window. And the materials properties window should be something that you're fairly familiar with at this point. This is just where you edit your different materials. Well, one of the things that can kind of get lost is depending on the way this looks, there's a little arrow here for show extended settings. When you click on show extended settings, that gives you a number of different options. Like it gives you the ability to offset the way that your materials sit inside of here. You can move them up and down, all sorts of different things. So you can use that to adjust your materials. But what I want to focus on today is I want to focus on this option on the far right for foliage. And so what foliage is going to do is that's going to allow you to add things like moss or ivy to this face. And so in order to add this, there's going to be an option in here for spread. And so you can see how by adjusting the slider in here, you can actually adjust how many leaves are applied to this face. So you can see how what these do is these come in here and these get applied to this face in kind of a pattern, almost like a V pattern or something like that along this face. But you can see how you can adjust how much or how many of these leaves are in here by using this slider. And so all of this stuff is customizable, so you can adjust the size of the leaves. So if you want these leaves to be really big, you can adjust how big they are by clicking and dragging this way. And you can kind of just mess around with these settings until you get a look that you like. So maybe you don't want giant leaves, maybe you just want leaves kind of like this. Well, you can adjust those by using these settings. And then another option that's going to be super valuable for you is being able to change the type of leaves. So you can see how you can change these to different colors, you can change these to different styles of leaves depending on where you're at and how they would maybe fit inside of this. So you can see how this is a really easy change to make. And so in addition to that, remember how we talked about the pattern? You can actually adjust how this is applied to your face by dragging this spread pattern offset. So this allows you to kind of randomize this pattern and get the look that you're going for on this face. So that makes this pretty customizable. You can really take this and make whatever you want with it. You can see how this is just kind of adjusting along this face wherever I move that to. And so another thing that you can adjust is your ground level. And so your ground level is going to adjust how high up this face this is going to go. So if you want this to be applied like fully to this whole face, like this, you can adjust your ground level higher. Or if you want this to be a little bit lower, you can adjust it lower. And one thing that's going to be valuable when you're adjusting your ground level like this is holding the shift key. If you remember, the shift key is going to put you in fine adjustment mode. You can see how fine adjustment mode allows you to adjust this with a lot more precision, allowing you to really be able to adjust exactly where that ground level is and how high up your face is this foliage goes. And so one other trick I wanted to show you real quick is you're going to notice if you look over here on the right hand side, this foliage right here is, you're seeing a lot more of it than you are over here. And the reason for that is because of the size of the face inside of your model. And so what I mean is because this face is smaller, Lumion can place more leaves on it than this one because this one is one big uninterrupted face inside my SketchUp model. And so like if you have a wall like this one and you want to display more foliage, what you can do, and remember I have live sync turned on, so any changes I make inside of SketchUp are automatically going to get reflected in here. But you can see how this is a wall that I've created inside of SketchUp. But if I come in here and I split this wall like this, so that this is now two faces. So by coming in here and splitting up this face, that means that Lumion is going to be able to display more. Lumion's going to be able to display more foliage on this face. So let's go in and let's split this a couple more times. So I'm just going to draw lines across this in SketchUp, and notice as I do this and as I split this up, notice that the number of leaves in here gets larger. So like for example, if I was to draw another line straight up and down and split this face, you can see how as I split this into smaller faces, you're able to get more leaves on each one of these. So you can use this to kind of customize what Lumion can do. So you can see how as I split this one, your foliage over here gets thicker as well. So by splitting up those faces and adjusting those faces, you can really kind of customize the way that this works. And in the case of this one, because what I've done is I've drawn my line straight down through the ground, the other thing you might think about doing, because you don't really need Lumion to apply this material below the grade, is you can just come in here and apply the default material below grade. And what that means is you're not going to be wasting extra processing power trying to add foliage to things that you can't even see with your camera. So once you're done with this, you can save your changes by clicking the checkbox, and then we'll just render it like we would anything else. So I'm just going to come in and set up my view, maybe move this up or down just a little bit. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of focused on my foliage for this one. And we'll go ahead and we'll select probably a realistic style in here. Maybe adjust our focal length just a bit and kind of set up this view. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a real sky. And again, that's a Lumion 9 feature. So maybe something like this. I like that I get a little bit of shadow coming off of this foliage, and then we'll just click the render button. So we'll go ahead and come in here and we'll just name this foliage. We'll click save, and that's going to come in here and that's going to render this out. And you can see how when you render this out, you get a really nice, good looking, you get a really nice, realistic looking foliage along this face right here. And one thing I guess I could say real quick is if you wanted to, you're not just limited to something like that big long face like that. Like for example, let's say that I took these items in SketchUp and I'll just apply a red material in here. I just want them to be a different material so I can quickly apply something inside of a Lumion. And my live sync got turned off, so I'm going to turn that back on. And then this is going to sync up, and you can see how these are now their own color. So I could come in here and click on these and apply maybe a standard like metal material or something like that. So like a painted metal or something, and then come down here and I could add foliage to that as well. So you can see how I can add that kind of moving up. I could add that moving up and down these posts as well. So you can really apply this to any kind of material inside of Lumion. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Was this helpful to you? Have you used the foliage feature in Lumion? I just love having that conversation with you guys. If you like this video, please remember to click that like button down below. If you're new around here, remember to click that subscribe button for new rendering content every week. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.